COVID-19 has been likened to a tsunami and its effects devastating. The local economy was already in a recession before the advent of COVID-19. The economy is battling weak growth brought by structural impediments and policy uncertainty. Measures to cap the spread of the virus saw companies completely shut their doors or reduce their workforce. The second quarter employment numbers will show the effects of the stringent lockdown on business.
Even before the global financial crisis that we are facing, brought on by COVID-19, South Africa had one of the highest unemployment rates in the world. Weak growth, underpinned by structural inefficiencies and policy uncertainty, have been the driving forces behind SA's mounting unemployment crisis. Unemployment is a lagging indicator. Therefore, the rate is likely to remain elevated in the second half of the year.
Young people are the worst affected as it has become harder for new entrants to find jobs.
Youth unemployment in South Africa, it's above 60% and is moving towards 70%. And that brings a reflection for each and every leader to say, if you have young people that are 70% unemployed, what kind of state are you looking at building in the future? Because in about a decade to come or 2 decades to come, all those people will be poor, and then there will be a difficulty in collecting their pension funds, and there will be a difficulty as well as those people when they get retirement, they will be expected to go to social welfare, of which you will have created a burden to the state again.
The increasing unemployment levels have seen more pushed into poverty.
The impact of COVID has phenomenally impacted on levels of unemployment. What we saw from the recent CRAMS NID data from the survey that they undertook is that in the month of April alone, 3 million jobs were lost. What we are anticipating is that this knock-on effect will continue. Unfortunately, the sectors of employment that were lost most significantly were amongst the most vulnerable people. So women, less skilled workers, people who really are incredibly vulnerable to the kinds of shocks that COVID is bringing.
South Africa will only be able to create jobs if there are investments in the economy.
We will not grow jobs until the economy grows. So we've got to return to economic growth. And I would say we need a decade to a decade and a half of solid economic growth in the 4 to 5% region in order to resolve completely our unemployment problem. Now, that's a very devastating statistic. But remember, of course, it's a trajectory. It'll start improving. But until we get back to positive growth, and until our own South African investors and overseas investors have confidence in the political stability and that we're dealing with the corruption problems, and that the government is united and focused and doing things, then I see no return to growth.
There are calls for government to introduce a universal basic income grant to cushion the poor and boost economic activity. Dora Safakomusi, SABC News, Johannesburg.